Without any intention of diminishing the magnitude and complexity of various nuclear efforts, I'm going to make a simplistic comparison between nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Nuclear fission is accomplished by disrupting a uranium atom with the controlled emissions of other uranium atoms. In a sense, it is like throwing a wrench into some rapidly rotating mechanism. You do not have to thoroughly understand the mechanism to disrupt it. Nuclear fusion, on the other hand, involves putting two hydrogen atoms together to form a helium atom. In a sense, the way scientists presently seem to view fusion is like putting two Volkswagen Bugs in a large vat, heating it up quite a bit, and expecting to get a Mercedes as a result. So far, all they have managed to accomplish is making the bugs disappear with a bang. Wikipedia introduces the subject of nuclear fusion with this statement. The origin of the energy released in fusion of light elements is due to the interplay of two opposing forces. The nuclear force, which combines together protons and neutrons, and the Coulomb force, which causes protons to repel each other. The protons are positively charged and repel each other, but they nonetheless stick together, demonstrating the existence of another force referred to as nuclear attraction. In every part of this series, I have stated that at the fundamental level, energy can only take three forms. First is the energy ocean. It fills the immensity of space. It is comprised of photons of light, which is entirely a particle phenomenon. Secondly, atoms, indeed all particles, are tiny tornadoes of energy, spun from the photons of light that make up the energy ocean. Different sizes and shapes of tornadoes represent the various elements. And third, our velocity through the energy ocean keeps our tiny atomic tornadoes spinning, like a pinwheel held outside the window of a moving automobile. There are no other forms of energy at the fundamental level, and no particles have any other form than that of a tiny energy tornado. All atoms are just tiny tornadoes of energy. Within any atom, there are no functioning component parts, just the smaller photons that make up the walls of the tornado. There are no protons, no neutrons, and no strong nuclear forces. Those things were just products of scientific probing and a lot of imagination. Particles are smashed, and energy fragments were analyzed and categorized and imagined to be functioning components of the larger particles. Some amazing mathematical equations were established and arranged so that scientists could almost believe that they had it all figured out. Until they tried to fuse some atoms together to make a different atom. It seemed like a reasonable idea since they were able to bombard some atoms with additional neutrons and make new isotopes. Even without knowing exactly what the atom was really like, they imagined that if they just put some in a pressure cooker and heated them up quite a bit, something interesting and useful might happen. But what seems to have happened is the hydrogen atoms explode, leaving nothing behind. No fusion occurs, no helium appears, and the only logical conclusion seems to be that they probably need more heat. Nuclear fusion has been observed to occur in particle accelerators, but there the atoms were similarly aligned by magnetic forces. I don't really know how the trailing atom got moving faster than the one in front, but somehow they collided. Parts of the tornado spins were disrupted, releasing some energy, but the remaining parts fused together to create a helium atom. So fusion is clearly possible. Scientists think that fusion reactions are responsible for the energy that is produced in stars. I don't really know what makes the stars shine. I just know that the atoms are tiny tornadoes of energy, with no protons, neutrons, or mysterious strong nuclear forces in the middle. I also know that we, along with all of our atoms and the rest of the universe, are moving through the energy ocean at speed c². If we could just figure out what direction, with respect to the energy ocean, we are actually moving, and could build an energy scoop to gather some of it in, we would be tapping into an inexhaustible source of pure, clean energy. Direction-wise, we might look back to 1956 when Chen-Chung Wu, an experimental physicist at Columbia University, proved that symmetry P, that's particle symmetry, did not hold true. Using cobalt-60, she showed that the radioactive particle emissions were significantly more in one direction than another. Leon Lederman confirmed her findings using the accelerator at the Brookhaven Labs. Wu got a Nobel Prize for her work, but nobody bothered to explain or even take a guess as to why the particles were not emitted symmetrically. Now, if you lit a simple fireworks sparkler, you would notice that the sparkles would be emitted in a somewhat symmetrical pattern. But if you held that same sparkler outside the window of a moving automobile, you would see more sparkles downwind than upwind, and this would be an indication of the direction of motion. Some bright young scientist could probably figure out what to do with this little nugget of knowledge. Now, how to make an energy scoop is another matter. My guess is that it would probably revolve around some form of an energy tornado. It is likely that there is some cutting-edge science going on right now that is just what is needed to make all this happen. Someone just needs to find the right pieces and begin putting them together, with some minor adjustments. This explanation is the conceptual foundation of a new branch of science I call energy diversion. We take advantage of our velocity through the energy ocean to do any number of exciting new things. Convert the energy directly into electricity. Automobiles, planes, and spaceships could draw their energy directly from the energy ocean. Houses, offices, and factories could have their own in-house power supplies. No more downed power lines, blackouts or brownouts, no chance that terrorists could cripple the energy networks. Redirect the energy to low energy pressure regions between objects. This, in essence, is anti-gravity. With increased use of anti-gravity cars, trucks, buses, and trains, there would be a reduced need for the expensive building and maintaining of roads and bridges. C-square energy could be used to power spaceships at speeds many times the speed of light. It could also be used as a shield around spaceships to eliminate mass increases and time dilation, regardless of the ship's velocity. Convert energy directly into matter. Making atomic energy tornadoes is conceptually a lot easier now that you know what an atom really is. For long space journeys, producing your own air, water, food, repair parts, etc. would be necessary until major galactic intersections could be populated with mini-marts, space docks, and restaurants. You spin those energy tornadoes in the opposite direction and you have antimatter. Controlled in specially designed containers, you have waste disposal, delivering matter directly back into the energy ocean. You would, of course, have to control the reaction rates to keep from blowing everything up. Of course, if you are still in love with the fusion idea, I would suggest that the reactor design should be patterned after the successful fusion experienced in accelerators. Hydrogen or some other appropriate fuel is fed into the fusion chambers via two speed control valves. These controls should be adjusted to maximize the effective collision rate of the hydrogen atoms. The controls should also orient and align the atoms such that their collisions will more likely result in fusion. You might not even need heat to make this reactor work. And the helium exhaust could fill many balloons, making children all over the world happy.